Hi guys, Miranda here. This video is for those of you who are starting to think about what you're going to do after you turn 18. So you might be at college or a school sixth form, or perhaps you're doing an apprenticeship. Whatever you're doing at the moment, you're probably starting to think about what your next steps might be. So I'm going to run through the different options that you have and also give you some tips and hints of things you need to be thinking about now. Watch this video, have a look at the resources I'm going to suggest, and let us know how you get on. There are quite a lot of things that you can do when you're 18, which is fantastic. The first one that most of you probably will have heard of is university. That option is for those of you who've completed level 3 qualifications. So you might have done A levels, or you might have done a BTEC level 3 or another vocational qualification that gives you what's called UCAS points. And the UCAS points let you get into university. So depending on what you've studied and how well you've done in it, you'll get a certain amount of points, and different universities and different courses will require different amounts of points. If you are thinking you might want to do something a bit more vocational, by that I mean related to the world of work, then you might start to think about apprenticeships. Apprenticeships are jobs, so they are through an employer. You can get apprenticeships at different levels. I've got other videos talking specifically about apprenticeships, so I'm not going to go on about those too much, but it is something worth thinking about. They can lead into particular types of work, and they can also give you a degree. So there's such a thing as a degree apprenticeship. There aren't tons of them, and they're more common in certain areas, but it's definitely something worth looking at if you are interested in working and learning at the same time. Third option I'm going to talk about is working. So lots of people might think, I want to go straight into the world of work. It's definitely a possibility. At the moment, obviously, we're going through an unprecedented time. I think you've probably heard that word a million times, but it's true. It's going to have a big impact on the world of work. Saying that people are still will be hiring, and that will improve as the years go on. If you're thinking about going straight into work, I'm going to do a separate video on that, but it might be that you start off with part-time kind of local job in the typical areas that young people look at, such as retail or hospitality. Or you might be thinking, I want to get straight into the career ladder and look for training positions in larger companies, or a company which can support you to train and learn and go on to a well-paid job. It's definitely a possibility, but it's one that takes a lot of work if you want to get into work. Fourth option is travel. Again, it's something that is going to be pretty tricky. We're in 2020 at the moment. Obviously, that's again going to improve. I'm a big fan of taking time to explore the world and see what's out there, and learn about yourself and learn about other people and learn about what your interests are and where your skills are. If you think it's something you want to do, I highly recommend it. Universities, for example, if you're going to uni, you think, I want to do a gap year. University, there's quite a lot of holiday time, so it is still possible to go to uni and have a good 3 months travelling as well. It's important to explore what the different options are and things that you can afford within your budget. Again, I'm going to put some resources at the end for you to explore. The other thing that I'm going to lump together, which is a bit cheeky, but I'll explain why. So we have work experience, we have internships, and we have volunteering. And the reason I'm putting them together is because they're all ways of developing your skills, making contacts in areas that you potentially might be interested in going into, and demonstrating your skills to potential future employers. So whether you're doing a work experience placement or an internship, which is basically work experience but generally for a longer period, and really if it is for a longer period you should be being paid for it, and volunteering, which is almost always free, as in you're giving your time for free, but all of those things are going to give you what I just mentioned about upping your skills, helping you make contacts, and demonstrating or evidencing your interest in an area of work. There are lots of different opportunities in all three of those areas, depending on what your career interests are, and it's probably worth having a chat with a careers advisor. I've talked about uni, apprenticeships, travel, work and work experience, internships and volunteering. There are other things you can do, for example, working for yourself. And some of you might be thinking, I've got a great business idea, or I feel like the skills I've got allow me to get, to work for myself, which is fantastic. Again, if you're considering that and you need some support, let us know. I think a really important thing is to be mindful of making any assumptions about any of those options I've just mentioned. So for example, often I speak to young people and think, well, I'll just get a job straight out of school. Don't be worried that you won't, but also don't just assume that it will come easily. You need to work hard at building the connections to find the job. You need to make sure you're job ready. So have you got enough skills to get into the world of work? Is your CV looking as good as it needs to look? And is it tailored to the particular types of jobs you're going for? The other one is around a university. I hear all sorts of worries and concerns, which is, especially at the moment, is understandable. One thing to remind you is that even though it is expensive, you may go many years without paying any of it back. And when you do start paying it back, it's a really small amount. So, don't let the finance side of things scare you off. And also, make sure you speak to people about the good side and the bad side. So if you're coming from the point of view and you're thinking, oh no, it's not for me, just question, why is it not for you? And if you've got really good positive reasons, as in because I want to do this career where I don't need to, or I've looked into it and there aren't the right courses for the sort of things I'm interested in, those are all perfectly reasonable reasons. But if you're saying, oh, I just don't know, I haven't even looked at it, and next door neighbour told me it was a waste of time, then have a think whether or not that's the best reason for not doing something. I would also say around university, if you're even considering it as a possible option, it's really worth making an application just to go in 2021, because the deadline for those of you who are currently in the first year of college is January 15th, 2021 to start that September, but most colleges expect you to get everything, all your applications in by usually around the end of November this year. So it's a really quick turnaround when you get back in September or when we start in the autumn term. And if you are thinking, I'm not sure, make an application anyway. It doesn't cost that much, and then you've got that option sitting there, rather than not having the option, then maybe taking a gap year and then having to do an application by yourself without any support, because you can always defer, which means going the year after. So a couple of questions to ask yourself when you're thinking about what you want to do next. The first one is, what is right for you? So what is right for you might be very different to what is right for your best friend. All your friends might be thinking gap year. That might be right for you as well, but don't just go along with the herd decision, because everyone is different and everyone needs a different path. Have a think about what you want to do in your future. If you've got a specific idea of what you think your future looks like, research whether or not it needs a degree, or it needs a travel, or it needs a particular apprenticeship, or you really need to be doing lots of internships. If you're not sure about what career you want to do, there are lots of tests out there to give you some ideas, but also come talk to us. That's what Careers Guidance is all about, supporting you to find your path. So last thing to say is on our website under student downloads, there's some presentations that you can download that have lots of resources on them. I really recommend you have a read through the one for Year 12 students, because a lot of what I'm talking about, there'll be recommendations of things to look at and sort of activities to do. So have a read through that, get in contact with us on Instagram, email us, chat with us on our website, and we're here to help. And take care. Bye.